The Merry Wives of Windsor by William Shakespeare. A narrated synopsis by the AI-created voice of Harry Hill for the audioverse Shakespeare Unleashed series. The Merry Wives of Windsor is one of Shakespeare's few comedies set in a contemporary English town. It revolves around themes of love, marriage, jealousy, and clever trickery, delivered with light-hearted humour. Part 1. Sir John Falstaff's schemes. The play begins in the quiet town of Windsor, where Sir John Falstaff, a boisterous and scheming knight, finds himself short on funds. Ever resourceful, Falstaff devises a plan to seduce two wealthy married women, Mistress Ford and Mistress Page. His aim is simple: to gain access to their husbands' fortunes by wooing them with grand, albeit insincere, declarations of love. Falstaff sends identical love letters to both women, convinced of his irresistible charm and confident in his success. Little does he know that Mistress Ford and Mistress Page are not only loyal to their husbands, but also quick-witted and more than capable of seeing through his schemes. Part 2. The wives' counterplot. When the two women compare their letters, they are outraged by Falstaff's audacity and amused by his arrogance. Instead of confronting him outright, they decide to play along and teach him a lesson. Together they concoct a plan to humiliate him. Meanwhile, Master Ford, Mistress Ford's husband, hears rumours about Falstaff's intentions and becomes consumed by jealousy. Unlike Mistress Page's husband, who trusts his wife completely, Master Ford's suspicious nature makes him a perfect target for manipulation. Disguising himself as a man named Brooke, Ford approaches Falstaff to gain information about his wife's supposed infidelity. Part 3. Falstaff's first embarrassment. Unaware of the trap being laid for him, Falstaff eagerly accepts an invitation from Mistress Ford to meet her at her house. However, the clever wives have planned a ruse. Just as Falstaff begins to woo Mistress Ford, Mistress Page bursts in, warning that Master Ford is on his way. In a panic, they hide Falstaff in a large laundry basket filled with dirty clothes. When Master Ford arrives, searching the house in a jealous frenzy, he finds nothing. Meanwhile, Falstaff is unceremoniously dumped into the river along with the laundry, a soaking and humbling experience for the would-be seducer. Part 4. The second trick. Undeterred by his first failure, Falstaff falls for the women's next trap. This time they invite him to Mistress Ford's house, promising a secret rendezvous. When he arrives, the women disguise him as a woman, a plump old aunt of Mistress Ford, notorious for her foul temper. Once again, Master Ford arrives, still suspicious and determined to catch his wife in the act. He spots the disguised Falstaff, but thinking him to be the unpleasant aunt, treats him with disdain and allows him to leave unbothered. The humiliation deepens as Falstaff realizes how easily he has been duped again. Part 5. Young love and misunderstandings. While the merry wives orchestrate their pranks, a subplot unfolds involving young Anne Page, the daughter of Mistress and Master Page. Anne is sought after by three suitors: the bumbling Slender, favoured by her father, the eccentric Dr. Caius, preferred by her mother, and the dashing Fenton, whom Anne herself loves. The competing interests of her parents create a comic web of confusion, as each tries to outmaneuver the other to secure their preferred match for Anne. Fenton, however, devises a plan to elope with Anne and win her hand in marriage. Part 6. The final trick. For their grand finale, Mistress Ford and Mistress Page set up one last elaborate trick. They arrange for Falstaff to meet them in Windsor Forest at night, disguised as the mythical figure of Herne the Hunter. As part of the ruse, they involve the local townsfolk and their families, who dress up as fairies and spirits to scare and ridicule the knight. When Falstaff arrives in his outlandish costume, the fairies ambush him, pinching and taunting him mercilessly. Only after he has endured their mockery do the wives reveal their true identities, explaining the full extent of their deception. Falstaff, though humiliated, takes the lesson in stride, acknowledging his folly and even laughing at his own expense. Part 7. Love Triumphant. As the prank concludes, the focus shifts to Anne Page. Amidst the confusion, she and Fenton successfully elope, much to the dismay of her parents. However, their union is ultimately accepted as both Mr. and Mrs. Page come to recognise that Anne's happiness is more important than their personal preferences. The play ends on a celebratory note, with forgiveness, laughter and reconciliation all around. Even Falstaff, despite his repeated embarrassments, is allowed to join in the festivities, bringing the story to a light-hearted and joyful conclusion.